Welcome viewers to my views on news. These are obviously not my views. These are Mr. Sajid's views. But as the name of the channel is such, so I have to call them my views. I hope you all are doing well. How are you, Mr. Sajid? How are you today?
I'm fine. Firstly, my views and news means views of all the viewers to views of Sajid, views of Miss Irma, because I never censor, I never block any comments. So it means that all are allowed to speak, to write whatever they want to. So the channel is not for me, it's for all of us to express ourselves. I'm fine. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Well, let me introduce the topic today. Honestly speaking, today's topic is very close to my heart because when I was going through the literature of Eritrea, I came across this information that the war of independence lasted for 30 years and about a big number of freedom fighters participated in this war, out of which 30% were women. I was so impressed because of the bravery and strength of these women. I think this is the largest number I've ever heard. I mean, we talk about Eritrea as not much developed country, but these women are fighting shoulder to shoulder with their men as frontliners. So I was so impressed, and I thought that let's discuss the role and the status of women in Eritrea today and what difficulties they went through during those 30 years. So, my first question to you would be that these women fought for 30 years, and I'm sure they must have faced a lot of struggle and difficulties and sacrifices. They must have made sacrifices. So, uh, can you tell us about that and what kind of a status do they enjoy now, those women who fought bravely for so many years?
Firstly, hats off to you for selecting this topic. Yes, it's a less covered aspect of Eritrea. What is the status of Eritrean women? Yes, you're right that Eritrean women played a key role in the war against the government in Addis Ababa. And both sides, by the way, both EPLF and TPLF consisted of large number of women. And those women sacrificed a lot. They fought separated from their families. And when they returned to normal life, they had been masculinized. So it was difficult for them to play a feminine role in society. So you can say they sacrificed their life because, of course, reproduction, for reproduction, there is an age as well. As women grow old, perhaps you know better. So they sacrificed the best of their age for error. And when they returned to normal life, it was difficult for them to marry, to be part of
Mhm.
society. Eritrea did have a support program for fighters when the government was established, but not all fighters could be adjusted. And secondly, we must not forget that while we have been seeing Eritrean military involved in conflicts in neighboring countries, of course, thousands of Eritrean soldiers have been killed. So, who is taking care of their families? Women are leading the families of deceased soldiers who fought in Tigray war, who fought in different regional wars. So that is why their sacrifice never ended. They
Yeah.
sacrificed when they were in the battlefield, and they sacrificed after that as well.
Yeah, there was a time when there was the women were three times more than men in the beginning, 30 years. Okay, now my second question is TPLF and EPLF both had fought in a combined. they made a combined effort to gain independence. I would like you to compare and contrast Ethiopian government with Eritrean government, and tell us that what kind of recognition these women get from their respective governments.
Both governments, I think, failed to recognize the services of these women. But in Eritrea, situation was worse, I think, especially after 2001 G15 letter, when 15 people wrote a letter to Isaias Afwerki for reforms in the country. We saw a start of repression, and one of the G15 was a woman, Esther Hartsion. She was minister back then. I think she was arrested, and I think she
Mm.
died in a prison. So she fought. She was a fighter. She fought for Eritrea. Then she just wanted democratic reforms in the country. She was put in prison, and reportedly she died there. So post-war Eritrea was not a paradise for Eritrean fighters. It happened in Ethiopia, but in lesser degree, I think, because in Ethiopia, I think women were given more representation. Though we cannot say they got their due representation, because in Tigray right now we know that Fatlever Gebregizaber, vice president of Tigray, is a woman. I think she fought in the war. Then president is a lady, Silevok, and
Yes.
Supreme Court had Shinafi removed a few days ago, a lady. Ministers too. PM Abiy made some adjustments when he came to power in 2018. Before that, both countries, they failed to recognize services of women, but in Eritrea, I think women were not given their due place, which they deserved after their struggle in the war.
Is there anything good which the government has done in the field of education for women or their security in Eritrea?
Yeah, firstly, it's not that there is no woman in Eritrea part of government. Yes, there are ministers. Like I think out of 16 ministers, four are women. There are ministers like Ascalo, Menkarios, Amina, Nurosan, Selma, Fawzia. They have ministries like Ministry of Labor, Ministry of Tourism. But top ministries like Ministry of Economy, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ministry of Defense, they are not in the hands of women. They are being led by men like we have discussed in previous videos, powerful men in Ethiopia. They are leading influential ministries. Women are there, part of the cabinet. I think one woman is heading a zone as well. Eritrea has 6 zones. I think she's leading Northern Red Sea zone, Esmerat Abraha. So they have representation, but they are missing from influential areas. Coming back to your question, that did Eritrean government do something good for the women? Firstly,
In the field of education,
Eritrea is
specifically.
specifically in the field of education. Firstly, let's compare Eritrean literacy rate for women and Somalia's literacy rate for women. Eritrean literacy for women is much, much higher, though there is slight gap between male and female literacy rate, but there are no taboos linked to education for women. So all boys and girls, they have equal opportunities to schooling. Even in higher education, there are more women than men. So in
Wow.
education sector, and by the way, I think in comparatively in Eritrea, lesser number of children are out of schools than in Ethiopia, where there have been climate change related conflicts, religious conflicts, 2 year long war, tens of thousands in Ethiopia out of schools. If you remember, A few months ago, an NGO reported from the Somali region of Ethiopia that parents were marrying their daughters and they were demanding some money too because of drought there. Eritrea
Mhm.
has been a country where there are equal opportunity when it comes to basic education. But question is, what happens after higher education? What happens in top positions of government? What happens in top ranks of Eritrean military?
What about security, safety and security of women as compared to Ethiopia?
Again, I would say that Eritrea is much, much safer than Ethiopia.
Oh, wow.
Uh, I have not heard of a large number of rape cases, cases of sexual misconduct reported in Eritrea. And even before war in Tigray, we were hearing about rape cases there. Harmila Regabi's mother, if you remember, in the interview said that even pre-war Tigray was full of rape incidents. Did you hear anything about Eritrea? No, Eritrea has been relatively a safer country for women if you compare Eritrea with Ethiopia, with Somalia. Somalia is no comparison. Women in Somalia, they are much, much under repression than Eritrea. So safer country for women. And when it comes to basic education, girl have equal rights. But then after that, things start deteriorating.
All right. Now, it's a music to my ears to hear this. But there has been cases of oppression. I mean, the people who opposed Isaias' government, they were detained, and then they were detained for some religious issues also. So, during these arrests and detentions, does the government treat women with some leniency, or they are treated in the same way?
Well, when it comes to repression, Isaias Afwerki is a very just. He believes in equal repression against all. So women suffered like men suffered. As I said, Esther Fishatzian was put in prison back in 21. She died. Then Ali Abdo, Minister of Information's daughter, she was a teenager, arrested 10 years ago, still in prison. Helen Berhane, gospel singer, arrested, and there are lots of other cases in which women, for their religious beliefs, for their political beliefs, for other reasons, are put in prison. No compromise, no relaxation for women, and what about conscription? What about training, which is mandatory for students at Sava? And relaxation for women? No. All boys, all girls, they have to report there. So when it comes to repression, when it comes to state action against those who criticize state, there is no relief, no relaxation for women.
Okay. All right. Eritrea is represented by a woman in UN. What are your thoughts about that? Isn't that good?
Well, firstly, she blocked me on Twitter. I don't know why. Sophia is a great lady, seasoned diplomat, well versed, experienced, representing Eritrea, very loyal to Isaias Afwerki. 2 days ago, she congratulated Isaias Afwerki on his birthday. 2nd of February was Isaias' birthday. And she retweeted a tweet that Isaias had uh, he was serving for Eritrea, and all his life he had been serving for Eritrea. So her best quality is that she is loyal to Isaias Afwerki. Though I don't know if her family had any contribution in the War of Independence, but I heard that her father was ambassador of Emperor Haile Selassie, and EPLF fought against Emperor Haile Selassie. But at least Eritrea is represented by a lady at the UN. It should be appreciated that
Okay.
there should be more such ladies international level representing Eritrea.
Right. Now, well, that world, it's a question a little away from what we were talking about politically and other things. It is about entertainment. World is becoming smaller because of technology and the media. But unfortunately, Eritrea has only one TV station and one radio station, which are owned by the government. So, what about the female artists, singers, actors? Do you think they get a fair chance to showcase their talent to the world? Do they get that kind of exposure which they deserve?
No, no, because there is no freedom of expression, media under strict crackdown, just one TV channel. How will artists be able to perform? Yes, Eritrea has cinemas. Yes, Eritrea has this Eri TV. Despite strict state action against freedom of expression, we have seen people like Helen Malice, great singer, Shraddha Fatinga, and others who have excelled in the fields of music, acting. But here, women and both men, I would say, both are at a disadvantage. They have wonderful people. I mean, Helen Malice is loved both in Eritrea, Ethiopia. Sunnis listen to her songs too, but because of limited opportunities, limited exposure, because of state actions, these artists are not able to make their mark in the world. They can't. They have tremendous talent. Problem is that state has imposed some restrictions. State backs those artists, by the way, who speak for the state, like the one who is known for monologues. I forgot his name. It's several videos, and he's known for making pro-war poetry. A few days ago, he recorded a video from Maxom Tegarai, very provocative content. State backs this type of artists who promote state's agenda. These
Hmm.
artists who have real talent, yes, they don't get their due place.
Hmm. Well, thank you. But would you like to make any closing comments on the topic?
Firstly, they were 30% when they fought. They don't have representation at the government level, which they deserve. Secondly, in military, I think they are mostly promoted to the rank of colonels. We don't have any generals who are women in Eritrea. Though Eritrean military officers, they can leave military if they're married. So sometimes they say goodbye after they get married. But we don't have top Eritrean generals who are women. So they are definitely being sidelined. What I suggest is or what I think should happen is that at least in Sawa, there should be some relaxation for female recruits. There are several issues which women face, not faced by men. But if you expose them to equal risk, by the way, Eritrean military deploys women in combat roles. So Eritrea is one of, say, 20, 30 countries in the world which deploy women in combat roles. So they fight alongside men, like they fought
Yeah.
in war for independence. But at least at Sawa, there must be relaxation for female recruits because they suffer a lot. And Sawa's training, Sawa's compulsory training is one of the reasons behind Eritrean youth's attempts to flee the country. And when men flee Eritrea, of course, at the mercy of human smugglers, they sometimes are abused. Women are more abused psychologically, sexually when they try to flee Eritrea. They're at the
Hmm.
mercy of human traffickers. And sometimes this attempt to flee is linked to conscription too. So that is why I think at least Eritrean government should make some amendments when it comes to training, compulsory training for boys and girls at Sawa. A lot needs to happen, but who am I to suggest? Because Isaias Afwerki is the man who can decide what to do. And so far, he believes in equality when it comes to state repression.
Hmm. After discussing all this, I mean, women emerged so strong against all the odds in Eritrea. And if a woman is strong, it means of a country, it means that the nation is strong because the mother will produce stronger children. And I am honestly have become a big fan of Eritrean women, and it talks volumes about their men also, because without their support women cannot be this strong. Yes, they are making all the sacrifices and they are going through all the hardships, but still they have they have emerged very strong. So I think that what makes Eritrea a very special place, and it has made its place in my heart at least.
Yeah, you're right. And by the way, I haven't heard anything from Saba, who is Isaias Afwerki's wife. I think she was a fighter too. She fought for independence. The two married. And Isaias Afwerki's mother is alive too. She's abroad. So these women can play a role. They should play a role at least in getting some relaxation for women or having a better role for women in Eritrea.
Sajid, it was a relief to know that there is no discrimination faced by women in the field of education, and equal opportunities given to them. And Eritrea is comparatively a safer place for women as compared to Somalia and Ethiopia. So let's hope for the best. And I hope somebody listened to your suggestions to bring betterment. So thank you very much. And I think we should say goodbye to our viewers.
Thank you, Ms. Elma. Viewers, please do give your suggestion, your input about this video in the comment section. Stay connected. You can contact me. You can contact Ms. Irma as well. Help us improve these videos. We'll try to do 2 videos a week on Eritrea, hopefully on Monday and Tuesday. But what is needed is your input. Without your input, we cannot do anything. We're just studying Eritrea. Without your participation, nothing can happen. So please be inclusive, participatory in comment section, and let's hope that Eritrea becomes more inclusive, more participatory too for women. Thank you for watching. See you in the next such video. Bye bye.
Thank you. Goodbye. See you next week.